Welcome back to the Suraj Podcast. Today we are jumping back into the stories of Guru Har Gobind in his third battle. So in the previous episode related to the battle, I covered the duel between Guru Har Gobind and Lala Beg. So here Guru Har Gobind is able to suppress, both of them have a sword and a shield. So Guru Har Gobind is able to suppress Lala Beg's left shield hand, create an opening such that he can cut down, and he cuts Lala Beg's shoulder from the left shoulder down to the right hip, splits him in two there. And that's where chapter 50 now starts off, with the Mughal side seeing this, and they're all take a step back then. They kind of retreat a little bit, thinking of themselves as a little bit helpless. Like this Lala Beg was renowned for his swordsmanship, for how quick he was, for how strong he was, and seeing that Guru Har Gobind split him in two there, they were kind of feeling a little helpless here. It says that they were feeling helpless, like, you know, how a businessman in a deep forest would feel when he's getting robbed there. You know, that's not his territory. You know, he's not a soldier. He can't really do anything at that point. So Lala Beg, the main general, the main commander of the Mughal forces, sees this, and he's looking at Guru Har Gobind like Guru Har Gobind is, you know, the form of death himself on the battlefield, just taking everybody out. That's how good of a warrior he is. So Lala Beg then starts to cry out, and, you know, it's like this extreme anxiety. He doesn't know what to do here. He's thinking that Lala Beg, his nephew, you know, victory was on his shoulders. You know, he relied upon Lala Beg, but now he's gone. You know, who's going to stand up to the Guru's forces now? Basically, Lala Beg was extremely distraught at this point. His younger brother, named Kambar Beg, is beside him as well. Also a renowned warrior, a general. He had his own forces. He says to his older brother, says, don't have anxiety now. You know, this is what happens in the battlefield. What you should do is just retreat a little bit, stand back, and let me take command of the forces, and let me jump in. I'll go and butcher them. So he takes his 500 warriors. You know, the battle drums sound off, and he now rides in, and now firing begins on both sides of the battlefield. So on the other side of the battlefield, Guru Har Gobind, he's now, like I mentioned in the previous episode of the battle, he's bleeding from his left hand, his left arm. And that blood is now covered basically his entire white attire that he's wearing. So Jodh Rai rides up to Guru Har Gobind, and both of them get off their horses. Jodh Rai then proceeds to bind up, takes a bit of cloth and ties up Guru Har Gobind's wound. So Guru Har Gobind then jumps back on his horse, not really caring about the wound. He wants to jump back in. But Jodh Rai, you know, clasps his hands together. He asks very humbly that, all right, you step back now. Let me lead the forces. Give me permission now to jump in. Guru Har Gobind agrees to this while asking the messenger, who was also nearby, Hasan Khan, who used to be on the Mughal forces, who changed forces. We talked about this in a previous episode. Hasan Khan then says, oh, the general who's leading this army coming in now, this is Kambar Beg. He is Lala Beg's younger brother. You know, and he looks pretty pissed here, and he's warning Guru Har Gobind, not warning, saying that just that Kambar Beg looks extremely angry, but, you know, he's not going to fare any better. So Guru Har Gobind gives permission to Jodh Rai, gives him a blessing, saying that, you know, you're an excellent warrior. Go in there and tear it up, basically. So Jodh Rai's, you know, extremely happy. He's pumped up about this blessing. He takes some forces from the Guru's side as well, and now they ride in. So bullets are sounding off on each side. You know, the battle drums are going off. Now a bunch of soldiers, hundreds of soldiers now are falling down on each side as they're getting shot down, as their horses are getting shot down. So both Jodh Rai and Kambar Beg, they ride off very quickly with their horses, and they begin, both sides face each other. It describes Jodh Rai's horse moving around the battlefield like it's dancing in such an agile way. avoiding some of the bullets. But eventually, as the archers are shooting their arrows, it talks about how Jodh Rai's horse gets hit. Before it gets hit, it talks about Jodh Rai actually sending out a shower of arrows. So Jodh Rai was known to be an excellent marksman, an archer, and as he's riding in, he's just pounding these arrows out and just knocking down the Mughal warriors. But at that time, they had said for Kambar Beg had ordered a volley of bullets toward Jodh Rai. So this is happening, and Jodh Rai was extremely pissed off at seeing the amount of Sikhs that were getting shot down by the volley of bullets that were coming down on the Sikhs. So he actually picks up this metal, it's called a song. A song is a full metal spear. So, the bottom, the handle's metal, and also the blade is metal. And he is determined now to just go after Kambar Beg, the general leading the forces. So he's yelling out at Kambar Beg saying, "Hey, stand still there." And he rides up. It speaks about how Kambar Beg is armed with a very fine, expensive Falad sword, so a Damascus, a Wootz sword. And Jodh Rai riding up has this very long spear though, so he has the advantage here. So he strikes down, and as Jodh Rai is riding up, he strikes down and pierces Kambar Beg, and the spear goes straight through Kambar Beg, and Kambar Beg falls off his horse. Jodh Rai gets off his horse, puts his foot on Kambar Beg's chest, and pulls out this very long spear. And the text says that it's basically like Jodh Rai's holding this massive red snake, because the spear now is just dripping with blood, and Kambar Beg's body's just drenched with blood as well. So all the Mughals saw this, how Jodh Rai had killed their commander Kambar Beg, and were furious, and they directed even more so bullets at Jodh Rai as he mounts his horse. So Jodh Rai, as he's mounting his horse gets struck. Now it gets struck right in between the eyes here with a bullet. And as this hail of volley now is of these bullets are coming towards Jodh Rai, and it hits one of his horses. The text also talks about how some of the Mughal forces at this point have already started to retreat, seeing that their commander had been struck down. So on the other side, Guru Hargobind is watching this, and he's extremely pleased that Jodh Rai was able to take out their commander so quickly. But he was worried that Jodh Rai now is without a horse. And even though Jodh Rai is without a horse, it mentions that Jodh Rai didn't take one step back. Like, he didn't jump off his horse and just run back. He continued the battle from where he was standing. So Guru Hargobind standing there with Hassan Khan, some other servants as well, attendants. And where Guru Hargobind standing is basically where the duel happened. So Kambar Beg, the soldier who was killed in that duel, his horse is standing there as well. And I mentioned in the previous episode how amazing Kambar Beg's horse was. So Guru sent one of his attendants to take that horse and give it to Jodh Rai to supply him with another horse so he can continue on with the battle. And so that servant takes the horse. Jodh Rai jumps on the horse. As he's jumping on the horse, he looks back. He does a salutation to Guru Hargobind, thanking him for giving him this horse, letting him continue on with the battle. And it mentions that during this battle, a lot of horses were getting shot down of the Sikhs. But at the same time, the Sikhs were being much more careful with their shots and knocking down the Mughal soldiers from their horses. So it talks about how these horses from the Mughal side are just running around the battlefield, and some of the Sikhs then would jump on the enemy's horses and continue on the fight that way. So as this battle is happening, Lala Beg then sees his younger brother just dead on the floor. And now he's just in extreme distraught. He's crying out, he's yelling out, saying, my younger brother, who I lived my whole life with, who I fought so many battles with, who has basically been on my right-hand side my entire life, now he's gone from this world. Who's going to give me advice in the battlefield? Because Kambar Beg was the one giving most of the strategy, the direction, the tactics to the battle. So he's looking at this battlefield, Lala Beg, the main general, and he's crying out. He's extremely, fearful now. He doesn't know what to do. And his sons are actually standing right beside him. So Gossenbeg is the eldest son, and Shams Beg is the younger one. So the elder Gossenbeg is saying, Father, don't act like this now. We're in battle now. Basically, do you not remember the oath that we all pledged in the court of Shah Jahan? And he's basically telling his dad to man up here. And he's saying the Shah Jahan, who treated us so well, he made us generals, he made us commanders, there's soldiers who work for us. Shah Jahan nurtured us, gave us lofty positions. This is all from Shah Jahan's grace, And we were sent here with a task to return his horses back to Lahore. We cannot be iffy on this now. It's either we go out there and we give our life, or we take these horses, we kill the Guru, or we capture him and we bring these horses back. So we are indebted to Shah Jahan here. There's no going back from this now. We either ride up or we give our life here. This is the way of the warrior. Gossenbeg is telling his father. And Lala Beg then hears this and says, okay, you're right. Either we die here or we kill all of them. So he's now drying his tears, it says in the text. And he pulls himself together here. He picks up his bow and other weapons. But Gossenbeg, his eldest son, says, listen, Dad, why don't you stay back a little bit? Let us, your two sons, lead these forces. And you watch from afar, basically. So Lala Beg, almost in a cowardly way, says, okay, let's do this. So the brothers set off now. The brothers are imbued with this warrior spirit. They're quite brave, it talks about. They didn't even care too much. They didn't count the forces of the Sikhs. They just rode in with a lot of bravery, and bringing in the forces of the Mughals together again. Encouraging all of them to fight, to continue the fight. So they're shooting off arrows. It talks about both of them having a bow and arrow. And, wherever they would see, large gatherings of the Sikh warriors all clumped together, they would shoot out their arrows and knock a lot of them down. And in this way, it talks about, how a very vicious battle is occurring right now. And they were quite successful, actually, Gossenbeg and Shams Beg, in pushing back the Sikh forces, killing a lot of them, actually, while yelling out their battle cries. So they were on the back foot initially, the Mughal forces, but because of Gossenbeg and Shams Beg, their bravery and their ability to, round up their own forces again and then lead them in again, they were quite successful here. So the text talks about, during this crazy battle, from the heavens, these apasara or apachara, these heavenly nymphs were watching the battle and preparing themselves, putting sandalwood scent on themselves and watching down at the brave warriors who were dying, in the heat of battle, because as these warriors were dying, they would come down and carry them up, these warriors, up into heaven to marry them. So both of these forces now are just, in a pitched battle, giving very stiff resistance to each other. And, they're so tight now, these forces, that they pulled out their swords and shields and they're cutting each other's hands, arms, shoulders are off, heads are over there. Bidi Chand saw this brutal battle take place, and Bidi Chand was actually near Guru Hargobind. So he goes up to Guru Hargobind and asks, he says, why have you not given me permission yet to ride in? Let me go in, let me take the battle, and I'll go and I'll rip them apart, basically. So Guru Hargobind's really pleased with, Bidi Chand's enthusiasm. And Guru Hargobind says, okay, take this Brahmin, Malak Jati, as well with you, and go kill their leader, Gossenbeg now. There's only a few left, so make sure you protect yourself, but go in and kill Gossenbeg. So Bidi Chand agrees with this, takes Guru's permission and blessing, takes Malak Jati as well, and it talks about how they charge in now, basically like a hungry hawk swooping down on a small bird. Bidi Chand is just fuming. He's imbued with this warrior spirit, and he's launching off arrows as he's riding in. It also mentions Bhai Jetha as well, a long-standing Sikh of Guru Hargobind, joins them as well. So there's actually 3 of them leading some forces, and they begin to now carve a section out of the Mughal forces. The Mughals could not resist their advance here. So Gossenbeg sees Bidi Chand and how successful that regiment is in carving out some forces. So Gossenbeg goes now towards Bidi Chand to suppress him. There was a young Sikh of Guru Hargobind who would actually always stand near Guru Hargobind. His name was Lakhu, and Lakhu's job basically was to be an attendant to the Guru in battle. So he would carry this very heavy spear, and if Guru Hargobind needed this spear at any point, he would ask Lakhu, okay, pass that over, and Guru Hargobind would then use that spear. So he saw Gossenbeg riding up on Bidi Chand, and Bidi Chand maybe not being aware of where Gossenbeg was. Lakhu was a little bit worried, so he asked permission from Guru Hargobind that, let me go in. And I see Gossenbeg riding towards Bidi Chand, let me take him down quick. So Lakhu then goes in, takes this big spear, thrusts it at Gossenbeg. Gossenbeg has this really fancy sword with him as well, and he tries to parry that strike with that spear. But in parrying it, the sword broke. Now, Gossenbeg's pretty pissed off, but quickly then, Lakhu pulls back the spear again and then strikes it, thrusts it down, and pierces Gossenbeg. And Gossenbeg just falls down on the ground. Guru Hargobind is watching over from the side and saying, bravo, bravo, Lakhu. Lakhu's last name is Hair, it mentions. It's from a Jat clan. And so Lakhu Hair is able to, kill Gossenbeg. Guru Hargobind's extremely pleased and yelling out from the side like, oh, amazing, great job. And then he says, all right, this is it. Judgment Day has now come down for these Mughals. Basically, this is their end here. And the text then mentions how other regiments of the Sikhs were doing such a great job as well. There was one Nand Sanghera, also from a Jat clan, and Mahoru Randava as well, and Kripal Jallu. All these main Sikhs of the Guru were just like ripping it up and carving out now the Mughal forces, putting them on their back foot here. And many of the Mughals then begin to retreat. And that's where this chapter ends. Actually, we have gone up to chapter 51. And in the next chapter, 52, we will discuss how Bhai Jetha, this long-standing Sikh of the Guru who went in with Bidi Chand and Malak Jati, how he ends up having a battle with Shamash Beg. So Shamash Beg is Lala Beg's youngest son and Kaasam Beg's younger brother. So that's what we'll pick up next time. So we'll see you then.
Sat Sri Akal.